Hello, hello, and welcome back to Birth and Bloom. I am your host, Vidi, and this is a safe place where we talk about motherhood, lifestyle, and all the in betweens, faith. We just dive into it all, and I am so happy that you are listening today. If you are new here, I would love for you to stick around, subscribe, comment, share. Every little bit means a lot to me. Today, we are diving into redemption. We are going to be talking about being redeemed, and this has been something that's been on my heart lately, and really just have dove into what can I share with you about being redeemed in my identity. And I hope this is a place that encourages you. And so let's dive into today's episode. So, throughout my life, I feel like I had always struggled with my identity. There was a season where I looked in the mirror and was trying to figure out who I was. If you don't know, I was adopted and I went to a school where there wasn't much diversity. My parents are both Mexicans, and I grew up in a school that didn't have very many Hispanics. And so I was either what they say too um, white for my Hispanic friends, or I was too Mexican for my white friends. And so there was never this place where I felt like I belonged. And then throughout life, it was just figuring out who I was, what my identity was without my high school friends. When I was in college, I was, during that time, you're really plugging into what you believe in, where you want to go to church. And, part of me wanted to be a certain way, but I knew my morals and I knew everything, and I couldn't figure out who I was. And it just really bothered me. Then I became a mom. And when I became a mom, I think that's when things really started shifting. I knew that being a mom was who I wanted to be. Being a mom is part of my identity, but it isn't my identity. And so if you are struggling to figure out, like, who am I? Let this be a time of being encouraged, because God does not just forgive, He restores. And that's what I've been learning about lately. You guys, I could sit here and talk about this amazing thing that God's been doing and how He's been showing me over and over the word redeemed. And deep down, I believed for many, many, many times that I had ruined parts of my story that could never be redeemed. But God is always a God who redeems, and He wants to redeem you, and He knows who you are because you are chosen and you are loved. And you guys, there is no other greater love than the love of Jesus Christ. So let's go into a verse that I have been just really leaning on these past couple of weeks while I was just praying over this word redeemed. And it was, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." Okay, let me read that one more time. "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." Isaiah 43, 1. And you guys, we always hear about how we were knitted in our mother's womb and how God created us and how He knows the amount of hair that we have on our head. It just amazes me what God knows. And so He knows you. He has called you by name. There's a lot of things that can steal our identity. Throughout high school, it was the biggest thing for me, I think, was comparison. I compared myself to a lot of the girls in high school. I compared my life to a lot of the people in high school. Whether looked like I was put together or not, like, I was battling my own things, and comparison was one of them for sure. I wanted to have the best style, and I wanted to do this and that, and without knowing, it was just seeing others highlight reels. And we see that in today's day and age. I sound really old saying that, but we see that because you may live in a beautiful home and you are comparing yourself to someone on the internet saying, "Oh, well, I wish I had their, couch. I wish I had their kitchen. Oh my goodness, look at their stove." And I'm guilty. I'm guilty of this. Sometimes if I scroll too long, I recently just deleted my TikTok because it was just really messing with me. And I was scrolling, I'd be like, man, I really love her style. I wish I could be a mom who just was always put together with her style. And you guys, these are highlight reels. Don't let comparison steal who you are. We also deal with shame. Shame's another one that steals our identity. Believing we're disqualified because of things that we have done in the past. You guys, I have heard testimonies of women who have gotten saved and they were like in the pits of just like, you couldn't think of anything worse. You were like, how did this person? But God is a redeemer and he will redeem your life and he will change you and he will make you into the person that he has called you to be. I'll try to dive deeper here in a little bit to my story more because I kind of just gave you like a summary of everything, but motherhood trauma, broken relationships, it feels like we've lost ourselves. And I see this more with motherhood than anything, I think, is because one, I'm in the stage of being a mom to young kids. And when you are so in tune with motherhood, motherhood is a blessing, motherhood is great. But there are times where you lose yourself within motherhood. You forget your hobbies. You forget the things that you once did, whether that is running, whether that is sewing, whether that is baking. Sometimes you put that on the back burner because you are so focused on being a mom. And there's a season for everything, but I think it's important that we allow ourselves to continue to pour into the gifts that God has given us today. Like, I struggle and I'm like, well, God, like, where do I belong? But I always go back to He has called me and He has chosen me and He has loved me. And it doesn't matter in the human eyes where I belong or where I stand. It's at the end of the day, I'm answering to Him and what He has called me to do and the things that He has chosen for me. And you guys are going to hear me probably repeat that a lot, but because God has written out our life with Him, that is my identity. I am a daughter of the Lord. I am the daughter of the King of Kings, and that is my identity. Yes, I was adopted. Yes, I'm a mom and a wife and, a homemaker. And so those are part of my identity, but they are not my identity. Redemption means you are no longer defined by who you were, but by who God says you are. Let me repeat that one more time. Redemption means you are no longer defined by who you are, but who God says you are. And when I am saying this out loud, you guys, I don't know where you come from or where you were raised or where you're listening from. I know I have some listeners who listen from like Europe, and then I have some listeners who listen in South America. But listen, I come from a very small town, okay? And sometimes you see someone walking that you went to high school with, and you're like, man, I remember when so and so did this to me, or so and so, and you're identifying them from what they did in the past. And y'all, I'm saying this because I'm guilty, because I'm like, oh, that girl, she was mean to me in high school, or that girl did this. And you're identifying that person from their past and by who they were. There are so many people that I see on my Facebook who have started going to church, have started really having a relationship with the Lord, but back in high school, they weren't doing that. And it's not to call out to be mean, but it's because we cannot define someone by who they were in their past. If they have started to see change, and they have changed, because we are not who we were 10 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever age range you are listening in. Even a year ago, I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. And so you cannot define someone by who they were, but only by who God says you are. And so, what does God say about us? That we are chosen, we are His daughters, we are His sons, we are precious in His eyes. If you guys keep going to Isaiah 43:4, because you are precious in my eyes and honored, and I love you. But you guys, we just can't. And we can't define someone from who they were. As an individual, you cannot define yourself of who you were in the past. Something that the Lord has been dealing with me is just speaking right now into this podcast. I did not like I'm going to say I probably hated it. I hated doing public speaking in college. I did not like reading in front of the class. I did not like, but get this, I did like performing and doing plays in high school. Totally different. I felt like it was something that was fun. I loved it. But when it comes to like reading or doing an essay or something that I did research on, I could not, I did not like it. I feel sometimes unqualified to do this podcast. Ooh, I'm getting vulnerable with you guys because that is my goal, is to be vulnerable with you guys. But I felt like sometimes I'm not qualified, but this is what the Lord has me doing. And so sometimes he uses those that have felt a certain way or had thought that that was their identity. But my identity is my identity is that I am qualified because the Lord is with me and the Lord will guide me. I used to think I had to earn like a new identity by being better, but God reminded me, you're already mine. Why am I trying to people please? Why am I trying to be this person and trying to fit in with this group? Whether that's at church, you guys, there's so many people that are trying to fit in with a clique at church, because let's be real, churches have cliques. And if it ain't clicking, it ain't clicking. Don't try to be someone you are not. You're already his. He has spoken things over you, and you are going to find your community and your people. We are not meant to people please. We are not meant to try to fit into any crowd, but we are meant to stand out, right? We are lights of the Lord. We are to shine light, and we are to shine God's love onto people. But most importantly, you guys, I think the biggest thing that I want you guys to understand is your identity does not come from your past. It comes from who God has redeemed you to be. What being redeemed looks like in life can be speaking kind to yourself. You guys, the tongue is so powerful. I tell my two boys this, especially my oldest, mainly my oldest. I tell him what we speak comes from our heart, and we have to speak life into ourselves and to others. We are not going to belittle someone or anything like that in my house. I have rules in my house that maybe others don't have, and that's fine. But for me and my house, we speak kind about ourselves and we speak kind about others. Something that I've encouraged my friends to do is write Bible verses on a sticky note and put it on the mirror and remind yourself who your identity is. If you are going through a time where you are scared, do not be scared. Fear not. Again, fear not, for I have redeemed you. Another verse is, do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will not forsake you. If you are struggling with, okay, what is my purpose? Your purpose is to live a Christ-like life. We have where God knitted us in our mother's womb. He knows us by name. And so walking in our purpose, what a lot of people say, well, what's my purpose? You guys don't have to have a big following, a big platform on social media. You don't have to. Some people are called. I actually had one of my family gave me this like spiritual gift test or whatever. And so some of you may be a giver, an encourager, a server. Everyone has a purpose in life. Some in our eyes may look bigger, but we are all one body of Christ and we are all working together, right? And you fit in that. Having peace even when life feels messy. When people come to my house, I do not work in a house of chaos. My house is a house of peace. I want people to feel peace when they come into my home. And so having peace, even when life feels messy, is a transformation in yourself, just with how God has maybe redeemed you. Knowing, this is the biggest takeaway. I want you to write it down. I want you to share it with someone. Knowing your worth doesn't depend on your past. Your past does not define you. There are so many people that say, I was addicted to this and I had this happen in my life. There's a lot of people, like, again, some people have trauma in their lives and they use that as their identity and they say, well, this is who I am. This is from generations. No, be a cycle breaker. God can redeem you. You guys, there is so much stuff that I could just pour into this episode and talk to you. But right now I want to encourage you and let you know that God sees you and you are worthy and you are loved and you are chosen. And I'm speaking life to you right now because your worth isn't defined by your past. If someone keeps bringing up your past, well, you used to do this, you used to do that, stop them and tell them that is not who I am anymore. I have found peace within God. I serve a God that, yes, that was who I was in the past, but that's not who I am now. And it's kind of like what I was telling you guys earlier. We see people that we went to high school with, maybe even college with, because let's be real, I was not a light. I was not showing my friends what it was to have a relationship with the Lord. Why? Because I really wasn't having a relationship with the Lord in college. And I'm not who I was in college. And when I see they probably see me and be like, well, this is what she did back then, but that's not who I am now. And so know your worth. Again, I challenge you, write Bible verses in your bathroom mirror, speak life over yourself. I tell my oldest all the time, you are chosen, you are brave, you are strong. The Lord has chosen you. And I remind my kids that, but it's also important that you remind yourself. So ask yourself, what labels have you been carrying that God never gave you? What does that look like? The enemy tries to speak, tells us these lies. Oh, you're not valued. You're not worthy. Do you remember what you did a year ago? Do you remember that one night that you were with so-and-so? You guys, that is not God. God is someone who is going to redeem you and transform you. You just have to fully surrender to him and say, Lord, I do not want to live like this anymore. I want to be redeemed. I want to know and be fulfilled by you. The biggest thing is being fulfilled by him, because that's where our identity comes from. What if being redeemed isn't about becoming someone new, but returning to who he made you to be? I mean, you are definitely transformed when you are redeemed, right? We seem like we're this new person, but this whole time, that is who God intended us to be. But we just took the wrong path and went down another way. And the closer that you get to God, you guys, the more you change every single day. I used to have a hot temper. Not that I don't still get, a little frustrated and mad. I still do. But you just start being molded into God, who God intended you to be. And so today, I just really, really hope that these words encouraged you. Your identity isn't lost. It's waiting to be reclaimed. You are redeemed, you're restored, and redefined by love. So walk today not as who you were, but as who you've been redeemed to be. I really do hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I hope that you can subscribe, share with someone. I hope that you have an amazing week and that God be with you.